A special thanks goes to my patron supporters who are helping make videos like this possible. If you'd like to be a patron supporter, please go to patreon.com/TJR the original. Have you ever wondered about the cover to Led Zeppelin 4? Over the decades, it's become a very enigmatic image. It's also an interesting juxtaposition of images as well. Slightly off center is a painting of an old man with a huge bundle of sticks on his back. He is bent over and resting on a cane. His clothes are patched, and the frame holding the painting, with its chipped paint, has seen better days. The same can also be said for the drab gray wall of faded chipping wallpaper that it's mounted on. Of course, open the gatefold, and you see that you are looking at a partially demolished suburban house. The block of flats seen on the album is the Salisbury Tower in the Ladywood district of Birmingham. But as a teenager growing up in the 70s in a mostly unnoticed little San Gabriel Valley town, I carried with me a very limited view of the world. For this reason, the view on the back front cover of Led Zeppelin 4 could have been anywhere. And it also could just as easily have been nowhere. When I stare at the album's outer gatefold, I find myself wondering, who is the old man in the painting? Who did the painting belong to? And what meaning or significance, if any, did it hold for them that they would put it on their wall? Or was it nothing more than a decoration to help the place look a little less drab? Whoever this now demolished home belonged to, they are clearly long gone, probably passed away. And while it's mysterious, when I take in the entire front cover gatefold image, I can't help but find it sadly melancholic to look at. It's as if I'm looking at the last remnant of someone's life, someone who must have meant something to someone, but whom I will never know. And I think that's why I've always found the cover to be so arresting. These two opposing feelings, mystery and melancholy, that the cover elicits in me stir an inner conflict I feel whenever I look at it for too long. But what is the story behind the painting of the bent-over old man carrying sticks? Reportedly, it's a 19th century oil painting and was purchased from an antique shop in Reading, Berkshire by lead singer Robert Plant. But who painted it? Is there even a signature? Or is the original artist lost to time? Is it depicting anyone in particular? Did the artist intend some kind of meaning? Or is it just a sight that would have been common during the time of its creation? I searched for hours online trying to find something, anything, but I could only come across one very small possible clue. A Reddit post claiming that the old man depicted on the cover of Led Zeppelin 4 is supposedly a local eccentric named Brusher Mills. Now, the Reddit poster left no explanation to support this claim, but did leave a wiki page, and since I had nothing else to go on, I decided to investigate. Harry Brusher Mills, born the 19th of March, 1840, died the 1st of July, 1905, was a hermit resident in the New Forest in Hampshire, England, who made his living as a snake catcher. Following a national press article about him, Mills became a draw for tourists and visitors to the New Forest. These tourists who would have their photographs taken with him would also buy his snake potions and listen to his country lore. And these photos show that he lived in a self-made hut made with tree branches. And if this is Brusher Mills on the cover of Led Zeppelin 4, then perhaps the sticks on his back were used to help build or reinforce his hut. Many of the photos show him using a walking stick that looks similar to the one in the painting. While researching his life, I discovered the following painting identified as an actual portrait of Brusher Mills, and, believe it or not, even some comic strips about him. Looking at these old photos, I can see some similarity. So I guess it's not out of the realm of possibility that he could be the same old man pictured on the album cover. But after reading numerous online articles about Brusher Mills, not a single one makes any kind of mention or association with him being the subject of the painting on the cover of Led Zeppelin 4. I suppose it's possible, but there is no concrete evidence connecting him to the album's cover. In addition, during my research, I also found other online claims stating that the old man was actually occultist Aleister Crowley, or meant to represent him. But looking at these pictures, I just don't see it. Again, it's reported that Robert Plant bought the painting in an antique shop, but in all my research, I couldn't find one quote from Robert Plant or anyone else in the band about the painting. If in fact he did purchase it, does he still have it? Does it hang somewhere in his home? Or is it collecting dust in a closet somewhere? Or is the story completely made up? Guitarist Jimmy Page once explained that the cover of the fourth album was intended to bring out a city/country dichotomy that had initially surfaced on Led Zeppelin 3, and a reminder that people should look after the earth. But later he would contradict himself and state that the cover was supposed to be for other people to savor, rather than a direct statement. When the album was released, Jimmy Page would state that he wanted the album cover to appear anonymous. It was a response to all the criticism the band had received from the music press at the time, and that's why the band's name doesn't appear anywhere on the cover. And there isn't a single picture of the band anywhere on the inside or outside album cover. Aside from a Jimmy Page producer's credit, there is also no mention of the band members' names. Led Zeppelin opted instead to be represented by the 4 symbols on the album's inner sleeve, and the only mention of the band's name is on the record label itself. So perhaps the cover is just a random image and nothing more. Perhaps the story of Robert Plant buying the painting is made up. Perhaps the whole thing is just a random image, and perhaps the cover was just deliberately crafted to evoke ambiguity, and any sense of mystery is created by us, the viewer. A mystery that we create from staring at the cover while listening to the haunting melodies of Stairway to Heaven and the Battle of Evermore. This is TJR, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please... Oh, wait. I guess I do have to talk about the interior gatefold also, don't I? The image of the old hermit on the mountaintop is entitled The Hermit and is credited to artist Barrington Colby. It is based on the tarot card called The Hermit, and it stands in complete juxtaposition to the front cover gatefold. Growing up as a teenager in the 70s, I was unaware of the tarot card connection, and instead saw it as a kind of Tolkien-inspired bit of art. Robert Plant was a fan of Tolkien, and he name-drops characters and settings from Tolkien in a handful of Led Zeppelin songs, so perhaps there is some connection there. The tone of Colby's art style is to me also somewhat reminiscent of Dutch artist M.C. Escher, an artist whose work intrigued me as a teenager and whose work still does to this day. I have to admit that as a teenager, I focused more on staring at the inner gatefold versus the outer gatefold. To my teenage sensibilities, the outer gatefold felt bland in comparison to the inner gatefold's more fantastical bit of art, and I just took the front cover for granted and gave it little thought for many years. But as an adult, it's the front cover and its sad, lonely painting that intrigues me and fills me with a sense of both sadness and mystery. This is TJR, and if you do want to see more videos like this, please click like and please share these videos on your social media. Everybody, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.